when I first started speaking in front of audiences, I had this sort of purpose of wanting to impress them and say how fantastic everything was. And one day I actually happened to share a personal story, just as an example.
And how did that go? Oh wow!
And someone texted me and said, "Sophia, I totally changed my opinion of you. I thought you had it all, and just listening to that now, I've realised that you just can't. You can never judge a book by its cover. You just can't tell what's going on in someone's personal life." And that's when I've begun to really just think, maybe these things I think are curses. Why does everything always go wrong in my life? Are actually blessings.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because given what my gift is of communication and sharing, I need something to share.
And it's good to be able to feel it, to understand all types of situations with people and have that kind of compassion.
Definitely.
And I know that you have that. I can tell.
I do have the compassion, but also when people are going in, I'm more unlikely to actually pander to it as a permanent situation.
Oh, totally.
You can see it as something that you're traveling through this, and it's very it's much easier to help someone see that it's something that you're just traveling through, and there's a strength in it. Just find the strength and find the lesson and the growth that you're going to get from that situation.
Great advice. Love it. So can I what kind of advice would you give to people who are starting out in the idea, let's say, haven't really done much research and just starting out with the idea, perhaps I could have a business, or perhaps I could do something to help others, or perhaps I have a talent that has nothing to do with helping others, but it's something I really want to do. What kind of advice would you give them from your own experiences?
The first thing I always start with is, what are you good at and what do you love doing? I think it has to be based around there. The business can be, it can be in any field, any industry, but you need to find out what your role is and not try and be a jack of all trades. Find out, how, with the things that you're not so strong at, how you can give other people an opportunity to help you. Because if you're giving somebody something to do that they already love doing, they're going to want to help you. They're going to want to be a part of what you're doing. So I'd say definitely the greatest advice is to know how to build a team around you. Don't try and do it all on yourself, and really focus on doing what you're best at. Do the parts that you're best at.
Fantastic advice. And what about when times get rough? What kind of advice would you give people? Because it's not always a smooth transition to begin with. Even once you've decided, you've got your network around you, there are a few pitfalls that may or may not be prepared for. Do you have any advice for people with that?
Definitely. I think in those situations, I think it's just looking again at the planning that you had in the beginning. And also, I think a lot of people use failures as an opportunity to grow, and that's standard. But I'd also say failures don't need to be your greatest teacher. Find mentors. So you see yourself, in yourself when something's slipping. Don't pretend that you don't see it slipping or that you can't feel it slipping.
And I think that was quite direct, actually.
That was definitely direct. Don't pretend that you can't see it. As you feel it slipping and you know in which area, find someone or ask somebody who they know that actually knows about that area and get some advice, and actually take the steps that person tells you. Don't ask for advice from people that that don't know anything, obviously, but go to someone who's been there, done that before you, and make that your greatest teacher. Someone that knows.
Did you have a lot of support when you started? Just were there people who said, "Oh, you can't do that"?
Oh, of course, always. There's always, and like I said, with my day-to-day not being the same, I pretty much live my life in a bit of a dream state.
I like that state. There's nothing wrong
I love
with it,
that
as far
state.
as I'm concerned.
But I grew up being that way, being a dreamer. You look on my Facebook, it says Sophia is a butterfly. I'm always flittering around doing something.
Absolutely love it.
And I think that was the main thing that I have a challenge with. A lot of people are very grounded, a complete opposite to me. And my mum would always say to me...
You're a spiritual being, aren't you?
Very much so. So mum would always say to me, "Oh, you're always in a dream world. You need to stop dreaming and get
like
grounded."
It wasn't the greatest thing,
something.
maybe.
I think it's the greatest thing. It was until I said to Mum, "But Mum, isn't everything created around us? Didn't that all begin with a dream as well? Did someone else have to dream to do that?"
Fantastic.
So if I'm a dreamer, doesn't that mean that I can really create great things?
Fantastic.
And
I love it.
that stopped that.
Yeah.
But,
Very good.
I think people now have an understanding of me being this way, and what I tend to do is just surround myself with quite grounded people when I need to just get back down and get back
Good
into
advice.
action.
Good advice.
So yeah. It's the
Is
same
there
thing.
any one book that has been instrumental in your success?
I think
Or that you'd
number
like
one,
to recommend?
yeah, number one would be I love The Science of Getting Rich, and I know you quoted that the
Yeah.
other day.
That's an excellent book.
Wow.
Forget everything else, right? Start there. Yeah.
That would definitely be one.
Yeah.
Not because of richness of money or anything, but the
About
fact
so
that there's
much more, isn't it?
the fact that there's
Napoleon Hill. Yeah.
a thinking stuff that everybody is connected to, that oneness, and also just not being stuck in such a competitive nature and
Right.
realizing there is enough for everybody.
Yeah.
You can stand back
Work
and
from
help
abundance.
people
Yeah.
work from a
Yeah.
place of abundance. I love that. I love Roger Hamilton's a book about wealth dynamics,
Yeah.
and that is about
Yeah.
knowing your actual strength and
Right.
finding how to play to it.
Definitely.
We're not trying
Love
to
it.
just follow
Yeah.
other people
Professional
doing what they're
growth.
good at.
Personal professional growth. Fantastic.
That's a book I love as
Yeah.
well, and also one that people may not have heard it yet was a good friend of mine called Paul Simons wrote a book called The Distinctions of Nawabu, and that's a book based on 35 principles for living.
Wow.
It's similar to sort of Acts of Faith. Acts of Faith is another one,
right.
actually, but it's
Iyanla
similar to
Van
that
Zandt,
sort of
right?
thing. Yeah, Iyanla Van Zandt. So yeah, those sort of books
Yeah,
are definitely
awesome.
instrumental to me. Just knowing a different way of thinking, and the final one would be the Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dying.
Wow. Yeah.
Is an amazing book in terms of the way they just see the world.
Yeah.
The way the Tibetan
Isn't
Buddhists
it
see the world.
amazing?